The last 3 months of YNW Melly's life inside of jail has been far from normal. It all starts on July 6th, with new paperwork being released revealing YNW Melly will no longer be facing the penalty within his case, as reports are being released of sloppy paperwork by the feds in the court system, resulting in the penalty being dropped, which is a huge win for YNW Melly. Then also reports of good defenses coming out from YNW Melly's side with his lawyers. As YNW Melly's mother wrote on Instagram, the penalty has officially been removed from Melly's case. Thank you, Jesus. Hashtag Free Melly 2022. Now, with the trial beginning soon, the courtroom are starting to see the defenses from YNW Melly's side. Just as 100K Track said in an interview with DJ Academics, he stated this.
He built a real great solid team away from just being innocent because he wouldn't do such a crime. He prepared himself and got a proper, defense. Their job is to handle themselves in trial, not on social media. You guys are taking it that way. If they say they got DNA in a car, I'm just gonna tell you, Melly DNA was found in the car. You're gonna think, yeah, his DNA was found in the car the day of the. Oh, he jumped in a car and his DNA was in the car. He did it, okay? But you're not gonna put the fact that this was his car for 6-7 months on those documents and dockets and just automatically be like, yo, he's fried. You don't even know what the defense is. You don't even know what the rebuttal is. You don't even know why that situation occurred. You hear ballistics flying, you don't know what the defense is. You hear this, you hear that. You get what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be honest.
Now, if YNW Melly's defense team did as good as a job as sources claim, YNW Melly could be released from jail within the next 2 months as the trial is now beginning. But while things are looking better for YNW Melly, a very concerning update was then released at a court hearing only 2 weeks later. As at this court hearing, a detective in the YNW Melly case stated in court that he believes the rapper was likely the one who committed the act towards the 2 YNW affiliates. Now, according to the court documents obtained by XXL, Detective Christopher Williams will be testifying against YNW Melly in the trial. Detective Williams is known to be one of the greatest detectives in the United States at recreating crime scenes to build an image on how certain crimes went down. Williams reconstructed the scene of the crime by using human-like figures with the same weight and height as all of the YNW boys inside of the vehicle. He then used firearms sitting in YNW Melly's seat of the exact same vehicle towards the human-like figures, and everything then started lining up the same as the actual crime scene inside of the actual Jeep. Now, it also revealed that YNW Melly most likely did this act towards Sack Chaser and Juvie, only 8 inches away from their faces. This is due to, after the investigation, the splatter that went all over the vehicle, on the window, as well as the roof of the car. Now, here's the photo of where everyone was sitting inside of the car. YNW Bortland, being the driver of the vehicle, had YNW Melly sitting directly behind him, leaving YNW Sack Chaser and Juvie both on the opposite side of the car. Detective Williams then used what is called the stick method, where he would use plastic sticks to match the trajectory of the firearm that could have been used. The most concerning part, the trajectory from YNW Melly's seat inside of the car showed a perfect match to where YNW Sack Chaser and Juvie were affected by firearms, once they were then investigated a couple days after the crime. With this information being released inside of the courtroom, we saw then YNW Melly's trial once again delayed. This then brought us into the start of YNW Melly's documented time inside of jail. Now, around a month later, YNW Melly was then attending another court hearing, which in the end would also end up delaying his trial again. But YNW Melly shared a photo to his Instagram account with a caption saying, "It's about that time. I'll be home this year," showing hints towards the trial beginning very soon. It's good to know YNW Melly still believes he's innocent and will be returning home this year. Inside of the courtroom, it began to get very emotional, as friends of YNW Melly, such as Bortland, were in attendance alongside YNW Melly's family. Now, once the court hearing was over, however, YNW Melly began began getting transported back to the county jail. Sources claim that people from YNW Melly's cell block was awaiting his arrival back to his jail cell. Once YNW Melly arrived back to his jail cell, roughly 2 hours later, an altercation then occurred between YNW Melly and another rapper named Rico Reckless, as YNW Melly's official Twitter account put out a statement saying, "To all my loved ones and close friends, I want to let everyone know that my phone privileges have been revoked and I'm no longer allowed to call or have video visitation. That is the reason why no one has received any calls from me. But do not worry, I'm in great spirits." Only further proving that YNW Melly did have a run-in and an issue inside of jail. We even then saw reports being released of YNW Melly being placed in solitary confinement after getting into an altercation inside of jail with another rapper named Rico Reckless from Chicago, Illinois. They are both awaiting their trials to begin. Now, YNW Melly inside of jail has allegedly always been a problem with newer inmates, as everyone that comes into his jail block see a famous rapper and try to test him, whether it's for commissary goods or even just a good reputation inside of the cell block. Now, a few weeks then pass. This is when YNW Melly had his next court hearing. At this hearing, they announced a new court order stating, and I quote, "Ordered and adjudged that defendant's motion to suppress evidence obtained from T-Mobile warrant is hereby denied." Now, YNW Melly's lawyers originally filed a motion asking the judge to make all of the evidence on YNW Melly provided from T-Mobile unusable in the court case, as the evidence provided to law enforcement from T-Mobile is massive in this court case, which I will be sharing later here in the video. Now, this caused a lot of stress in the YNW Melly case, with law enforcement being able to use the T-Mobile evidence fully and clear. It has a lot of things that show that YNW Melly is most likely guilty, as things then went silent in the case as his lawyers were hard at work. This was until most recently, as breaking news has now been released this week of YNW Melly requesting to leave jail immediately to treat an abscess in his teeth due to his permanent diamond grill. Now, it's been reported that YNW Melly is unable to properly clean his teeth and allegedly doesn't have access to a regular toothbrush or dental floss. As many say that this is just a tactic to get YNW Melly released from jail, there's been countless delays in his trial, and it just kinda makes sense. YNW Melly's trial has been getting delayed ever since the news site Complex stated a very new piece of evidence, saying, "There is one Instagram exchange that took place hours after the passings, which was obtained by Complex via a public records request." In it, YNW Melly's Instagram account says, "I did that," in one message, followed 2 minutes later by another message saying, "Shh." The timing of these Instagram DMs will be getting used by the state to make the case that those messages amount to an admission of YNW Melly's guilt, as he sent these messages to the Instagram burner account only 2 to 3 hours after the original passings. Even with this very important evidence being released, YNW Melly's cell phone in general actually revealed most of the evidence against him, as in more evidence files, it states these particular cell phones, which were both iPhone 10s, were on the T-Mobile network. And so T-Mobile has a very interesting feature where it will tell you the environment the cell phone is in. So from these cell phone records, I can tell you the exact moment Demons got out of the car and staged the drive-by location. Also on YNW Melly's cell phone, they found a video on it, as the evidence report states. Then also, we have a video of Mr. Demons admitting to doing an act towards 2 individuals in the head. This video was on Mr. Demons' cell phone, which was brought to my office by Jameson Francis. That's how we had that, and that is all of the evidence that Your Honor has. Now, Mr. Demons in this court files is actually YNW Melly. Strangely enough, that is his last name. Now, YNW Melly's cell phone contains a lot of evidence. T-Mobile also has a lot of evidence against him as well, as they actually have the technology to use YNW Melly's cell phone as a GPS tracking device. There's an update of YNW Melly's life for the last few months. If you enjoyed, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new.